This is Red Dog Terrain. Welcome back to the shed. Today we're building a wintry hut. While at the craft store, we found some snow-flocked Christmas trees, and it inspired me to make a snow-covered winter hut. So I googled fantasy winter huts and found these amazing artworks. Link in the descriptions. I wanted to put this video out earlier, but a cruise to Honduras, some sickness, Christmas, a birthday, and a funeral delayed all those things. My plan is, for the future, to put out a video every 2 weeks, probably on Sunday, because that's when I can use the computer. I started with a cardboard frame, because cardboard is very cheap and easy to use. It's forgiving and holds together well with hot glue. I traced out the sides and the front on dollar store foam core board. I did the usual technique of dragging a sharp knife across, not very deep, and then emphasizing it with a pen. You take a gnarly wire brush and drag it back and forth, sometimes in various directions, to add wood texture. Somebody gave me about a dozen of these wire brushes, so I guess I have to make a lot more wooden structures. I put everything down with Eileen's tacky glue, which holds well and dries rather quickly. I didn't go all the way to the edge, not because I didn't measure right, but I totally wanted to put these beams in later. Promise. I cut 4 wooden beams, weathered them up as usual, and added them into the corners. To me, the building now looks like it was built by someone who isolated themselves and built everything by hand. Let's do some brickwork. I did the bricks similar to the pub in my previous series. The difference here is that the long bricks are at the bottom and I have more square bricks on the top to give it some variation. I had to take a long break here to let the glue dry, but this is the progress so far. To make the roof, I cut a piece of cardstock to size, folded it in half, drew in some curves, cut them out, and hot glued it on top. I think the curves really add a unique dimension to this building. This is the back side of the hut, and I'm just cutting a few wooden beams in to make it more similar to the original inspiration piece that I found. I use the same weathering techniques as the rest of the building. I want to take this moment to thank the band IAH for letting me use their music during my videos. Thanks, guys. To make the shingles for the roof, I cut a couple of pieces of XPS foam at about a 1/2 inch width. I turned it sideways and made cuts about 3/4 of the way through, then turned it sideways again and slowly put it through the Proxxon at about a 2 to 3 millimeter width. I repeated this step about 40 times until I had way more than enough to cover the roof. Once again, with my gnarly wire brush, I weathered the ends. You do have to be careful not to rip them apart too bad. With a line of glue down, I put them in place. At this point, it doesn't look very good, but once they all get added in, painted, dry brushed, and washed, it makes for a nice effect. I took my handheld hot wire cutter and carefully cut off the excess, and then added a ridge line. I will admit that this is not a very nice looking chimney. That's mostly because I forgot that I needed one and quickly threw together the best that I could. Eventually I will cut off the bottom at an angle so it fits onto the roof. I cut out a section of tiles so that it looks like it is inside of the house rather than just sitting on top of the roof. I cut a piece of XPS foam about 8 inches by 8 inches and then used a bunch of offcuts to add the mountainside that the hut will sit in front of. Most of that will be in the next video. With that done, the build phase is complete. Next is painting and detail work. Come here.